무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. Hi guys, it's Rose, or should I say Younghee, aka the red light, green light doll from Squid Game, and welcome back to my channel and another mukbang. Today you're watching another episode of Munching Mondays, which is my mukbang series. Mukbang is an eating show, so we are going to be eating together and we are going to be chatting. So if that is something that you enjoy, then don't forget to subscribe. And as you can see here, guys, we have another Squid Game themed video. Yes, you guys, we are eating the food from Squid Game. If you guys did not catch my Squid Game recipes video, that's where you're gonna find all of my recipes for what you can see here. So I basically recreated all the stuff I created for that video right in front of me. Okay, and I also, you know, got into the Halloween spirit. Yes, this is my costume. It's not the best, but that doll's makeup is not easy to do, you know what I'm saying? 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. Alright, you guys, we're gonna jump right in, and while we're eating, I'm gonna answer questions that I got regarding Squid Game. I thought that would be interesting, so here we go. So, firstly, we have the famous Toshirak, the packed lunch that I made with the vegan fried egg. I don't know if you guys can see. Anyway, vegan fried egg with the braised black beans, some vegan kimchi, and then there's some rice underneath. I'm so excited. And again, how to make this, it's in my video, which will be linked down below. I cannot wait to eat that. And then we have some tteokbokki, aka spicy Korean rice cakes. You guys know the drill. We got some of that going on. We got some dry ramen snack. We got some cup ramen. So this is not the brand that they use in the show, but I don't think that that brand is vegan, so too bad, so sad for me. And then of course we've got the 달고나 candy, which I have to be very gentle with. I don't know if I did a good job on this one. I feel like it's a little too thick. I made another one which already broke off, although, you know, it's not fully broken. The shape isn't broken yet, so let's see what happens. Anyways, I made the 달고나 candy, and I also made the soborobang, the Korean streusel bread, soboro bread. This is so good, I can't wait to eat this. That's gonna be dessert. We also have some soy milk to go with the bread. And we have some ginger ale, which is gonna be my fake saida, which is basically Korean Sprite that they drink with the boiled egg. So, without further ado, let's dig in and then we'll answer some questions. Firstly, let's get the ramen ready. All right, I can't take myself seriously with this get up. Oh my gosh, you guys. I went all out for this video. I was preparing for hours, my friends, hours. I had to bake, I had to do all kinds of stuff. Ooh, I have some hot water here. Let's fill this baby up. So we're gonna let this sit while we dig in. First, let's start with some tteokbokki. Oh, spicy Korean rice cakes. Yes, I made it myself. It looks so good. Honestly, tteokbokki is so good. If you guys haven't tried it, you must try it. Once again, the recipe is linked down below. It's extra chewy. It has a kick. And then we have here, of course, the famous Toshirak with the vegan egg, which I'm so excited about. If you guys saw my video, you know what, I'm gonna put the bread on the side here because I am afraid of getting food on it. If you guys watch my Squid Game video, you saw how proud I was of this fried egg. And the braised black beans. This vegan fried egg tastes like an egg. Mm-hmm. Mm. A few more minutes for that. More tteokbokki. Oh, you guys, honestly, I know Squid Game isn't about food, but some of the food they featured, so good. Mm. Dry ramen. A lot of you guys commented in my video saying your country, you also eat dry ramen. I love how that's like a universal thing. All right, we're gonna open up this Canada Dry that I bought because I like the green bottle. I explained in my Squid Game video that in Korea, we have a drink called saida, which is basically like Korean Sprite. I think it's, again, I'm not sure if it's the same company, but anyway, it comes in like a green bottle like this. And I'm just gonna pretend this is saida. Ginger ale. I believe this should be done. So this one, the Jin Ramen, is actually, apparently, it's not vegan in the US, but the Canadian one is vegan. So this is what I mean by always check the ingredients list on the back of your ramen, especially because ramen, for some reason, depending on where it's sold or where it's manufactured, you know, the ingredients are a little bit different. So this one is vegan for you Canadians, but again, I'll leave some alternatives down below as well if you guys want to get some cup ramen, some Korean style cup ramen. Why is ramen so good? Oh, more of this. I mean, this vegan fried egg with the rice and the beans and the kimchi combination made in heaven. You should make all this food. It's so good. Let me answer some questions about Squid Game. Okay, so I got this really long one, which I thought was interesting. I know you haven't visited Korea for years, but how did you feel it represented the culture? I'm not Korean, but I live here and I felt like it was a good representation of the bad aspects of Korean society. My poor students fighting so hard for their grades, 70+ hour work weeks, etc. But I feel like that's a lot of what international audiences take away, and not the good things like community, respect, etc. that are important here as well. I thought that was a really good question, so here we go. So yeah, I haven't been to Korea in a long time. It's been like 10 years, you guys. 10 years. Almost 11 years at this point. 10.5 years, you guys. It's been so, actually, yeah, almost 11 years since I've been to Korea. But I do obviously have Korean parents that, you know, keep up with the news. They're aware of what's going on in Korean society. And I also, you know, I have Korean, you know, friends, people around me that are Korean. So I am familiar to some extent about some of the struggles that are going on in South Korea right now. And I also sometimes watch, you know, Korean YouTube videos and such. So it's not like I'm not completely aware of the problems in Korean society. And I do believe that in the show, a lot of what was discussed, I think you can empathize a little more if you are aware of the issues in Korea, the pressures, things that I'm sure every country faces some problems, but in Korea, it's kind of exacerbated. Yeah, there's certain things that I think are quite specific to Korea, but at the same time, I think an international audience still would understand based on, you know, their own experiences, because it was essentially a critique on capitalist society, right? So I think when people are watching the show, they're not necessarily thinking, oh, Korea is like really messed up, has all these problems. I think that Korean people can probably feel that because they kind of understand that Korea, as much as, you know, a lot of problems in Korea can be, you know, seen in other countries as well. I think a lot of problems in Korea are maybe even more severe. A lot of it was very real in terms of Korean culture. Kind of like Parasite. When you watch the movie Parasite, I think everyone in the world could kind of understand it because it was, again, kind of like a critique on the, you know, differences between rich and poor. But at the same time, I think a lot of certain specific things Korean people could especially understand even more so because it was a little bit more cultural, if that makes sense. God, so good. Next question. Do you wish the ending was different? / who do you think should have won? I actually thought, by the way, spoiler, if you haven't watched it yet, guys, please go watch it, okay? I don't necessarily wish the ending was different because I feel like there's gonna be a season 2, right? So I don't know, like I don't really know what's gonna happen. I think the ending was fine. I don't necessarily disagree with the ending. I kind of want to see what happens next. I hope in season 2 they kind of describe a little bit more about, you know, what happened with the guards, like how they ended up there. Yeah, but I thought that Sang-woo was gonna win just because I thought, okay, like they're probably not gonna let the good guy win. I don't know. So that's what I thought, but I was wrong. But I kind of knew about the old man, like not that I knew about the old man or like what his identity was, but I knew there was a big twist because my mom told me. She kind of gave away that there was a big twist, but that's all she said. But then for some reason, when she said that, I immediately was like, okay, the old man is a little sketch, okay? Little sketch. So I kind of knew that the old man was up to no good, but I just wasn't sure exactly what. I felt like there was gonna be something shady about him. And even when the old man died in the marble game, I kind of knew he wasn't dead because I didn't see him get shot. Everyone else, they showed them getting shot. So I was like, you're a little sketch. And plus he was kind of sketchy in that game. He like pretended to have dementia, but then he didn't have dementia. So anyways, so next, do you think this show will have an impact on people's political activism in social issues or nah? I think that's an interesting question. I'm not sure. I think it is definitely a political / social commentary and a critique on capitalism and our society and inequalities. So it's definitely going to get people to think, I believe. I'm not sure if it's going to actually make any actual societal changes. I think it's more so people can relate because we live in this system that, you know, a lot of people feel kind of victimized by. But, I mean, Parasite didn't really have a, you know, political activism impact, so. As far as I know, anyway. But who knows? No? Would you do Squid Game if it were real? I got a few questions like that, like, would you play? And here's the thing, guys. Of course not! I would lose in the first game. Are you kidding me? Seriously, imagine you start playing red light, green light, and then people start freaking getting shot beside you. You think I'm gonna stay still? But I think the point of this whole thing is that obviously someone in my position, which is a position of privilege, would not play this game, right? Of course I wouldn't play because I don't need to play. But that's what makes it extra sad, because these people are, you know, in desperate situations and they got taken advantage of. You know? I don't want to lean back because I feel like this wig is gonna fall off. Alright you guys, so now it is time for dessert. So we have more food from Squid Game. First we have, of course, the very famous dalgona candy, which I don't think I made it properly, but yeah, I definitely did not make it properly. I don't know how people make it so easily. I don't get it. But anyway, we also have the soborobang, which is the Korean streusel bread. This is the bread that they hand out at the game with the glass of milk. This is soy milk. Yay! So should I try this thing first? Now I feel like I am not gonna succeed. The last time I made it too thin, and this time I think I made it too thick. I don't know, or maybe like I don't think I made the shape that well, and I don't have like a needle, so I'm gonna use my wine opener. Ooh! Nope, I died, guys. I already got shot. Oh well. I do have this heart, which broke off a little bit, but let's see if I can do this one. Ooh, this one's hard too. These actually break really easily. That's why it's so hard. Imagine doing, yeah, I died again. See, this is why I can't play the game. All right, well, I'm gonna eat some of this soborobang. You guys, if you make anything, please make this recipe. This bread. This is my second time making it. I think my first batch was better though. It was so really good. Oh, especially with soy milk. This bread is like so soft, almost pillowy. It's like chewy as well. Oh my god, it's so good. You find these in Korean bakeries. Obviously they're not vegan, which is why I'm so happy I found this recipe, because it really reminds me of like Korean pastries that I used to eat as a child. I grabbed a Diet Coke because I was like, I need something refreshing. What is it about carbonated beverages? Woo! My broken off dalgona candy. Should I answer more questions? Oh, this candy, man. It's so good. Things that non-Koreans wouldn't notice that give you insights about the show. Ooh, interesting. Actually, I talked about this in our Patreon exclusive for our podcast. If you guys don't know, I have a podcast with my friend Daniel called The SaVeg Podcast, and we have a Patreon, like a little membership only space, and we do exclusive episodes every month. And this month we actually did an episode about Squid Game, where we just discussed Squid Game for like, I think it was like a 2-hour long episode. And I shared in that episode that one of the things that I heard was something that only Koreans noticed is basically, you know, like I think it's in the second episode where they leave the game for the first time. So first time they leave the game, they go back out in the real world, and there's a scene with Sang-woo where he's like in a hotel room and he's like in the bathtub. He's like fully dressed in his suit and he's like drinking something. It looks like he's like about to fall asleep. I'm sure a lot of people realized what he was doing. He was trying to commit suicide. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. He was trying to, you know, kill himself. But apparently people did not realize how he was trying to do it, the method of which he was trying to do it. Whereas I noticed it right away and I just thought it was like obvious, but I guess like it wasn't obvious. So basically in the beginning of that scene, they show him burning something. It's like it's something black and there's like steam, not steam, what is it? There's like smoke coming out of it. And apparently a lot of non-Koreans don't understand what that is. That's like a piece of coal. I believe they called it coal briquette. Anyways, he's like burning the coal to basically die from the fumes that the coal is, you know, producing. In Korea, it's a very commonly used thing. It's called yeontan, I think, in Korean. And I've just seen it a lot and I just knew exactly what he was doing. I knew exactly what he was trying to do there. But apparently a lot of people didn't know what that was. And a lot of people outside of Korea thought that that was him burning incense or something. So I thought that was really interesting because that's something that I just like didn't even, you know, I just like knew right away. I didn't even think that other people wouldn't understand. But that's one thing that other people didn't understand. I think another thing a lot of people may not understand fully is Sang-woo's character, the guy that like, you know, went to Seoul National University, which is a very prestigious university in Korea. It's basically like Harvard of Korea essentially. And in Korea, going to a prestigious university is like very important. It basically means that you are, you know, you've made it in life, which is kind of why they keep mentioning that he went to Seoul National University, you know. I do think that does, you know, have a lot of cultural significance. You know, he was like the guy that made it. And also a lot of people like from the countryside don't necessarily go to, you know, really prestigious universities because, you know, most of the time in order to get into those universities, you have to, you know, have a lot of money to begin with because you have to, you know, study a lot, and studying requires money often in Korea, you know, hiring the best tutors, going to the best schools. So the fact that he went to Seoul University from that little, you know, neighborhood where it looks like, you know, they come from a pretty modest background, that's why it was such a big deal. And I think that's another cultural thing that maybe other people wouldn't necessarily pick up on. What else? One thing that I don't know, I don't think it's that important in the grand scheme of things, but that girl, the middle-aged woman, Minya, the one that's like really loud and obnoxious, she uses the term oppa often in the show. Oppa is basically a term that only Koreans will actually know. I mean, unless you watch a lot of Korean dramas, then you might know. So oppa is a term that only women use. So women or girls can use the term oppa. So if you're a girl, you say oppa. Oppa is a term that either means older brother, so you can call your older brother oppa, or any like slightly older like man or boy. So somebody that's a little bit older than you, not too significantly older than you, but like a little bit older than you, that's what you call them. But that only applies if you're a girl. So if you're a girl, you call the older guy oppa. And if you are a guy, you call the older guy hyung. Hyung is the term that Sang-woo used to call Ki-hoon, who's like the main character. So Sang-woo calls Ki-hoon hyung, which is why when you look at the subtitles, Sang-woo never says Ki-hoon's name. He might say Ki-hoon hyung, but he never just says Ki-hoon because in Korea, that is disrespectful. So in Korea, if somebody is older than you, you almost never call them by their name. And if you do call them by their name, you have to apply a certain term after it, like Ki-hoon hyung or Ki-hoon oppa. You never say like Ki-hoon. You never say like somebody's name, okay? So I don't know if that's something you notice in the subtitles. Like for example, when Ki-hoon talks, when Ki-hoon says Sang-woo, calls his name, he says Sang-woo, because Ki-hoon is older than Sang-woo. Sang-woo, on the other hand, is younger than Ki-hoon, so he can't call him Ki-hoon. That's why he says hyung. And so when Minya says oppa to the bully guy, what's his name? Toksu, she's kind of trying to like flirt with him. That's another thing, right? That's like a cultural thing. She calls him like oppa, which was translated in the subtitles as either old man or what else was it translated to? Old man or babe. So those were the two terms that were used, but she was still using the term oppa for you know, both of those terms. But like it's just impossible to translate the term oppa. So I think they used the terms based on the context. So they were like, okay, if she was trying to refer to him as oppa because like she's trying to say that he's like older than her, then you know, they use the term old man. But when she was trying to use it in like a flirtatious way, like oppa, then they use the term babe. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's definitely like a cultural thing that non-Koreans would not understand. Because oppa is also meant to be kind of like a flirtatious term, or something that you say to kind of like appear cute to like a guy, right? So that's what Minya tried to do often in the show, especially when she was trying to flirt with Deok-soo. She would say, or any other guy actually, she used the term oppa for other guys as well. But like the term oppa is like supposed to be a very like flirtatious term sometimes, but depends on the context. Also, I feel like the kind of loan shark part where Ki-hoon is being chased by his loan sharks and he's like being threatened, being beat up. I see that a lot in Korean like movies and dramas. I very rarely, if ever, see that in any other movie. Like, I don't think I've seen that in like a Western movie or a Western like show. Like, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like maybe it's more common in Korea to get loans from like basically like mafia, you know, like gangster organizations, so that you know, once you can't pay it back, you get beat up and stuff like that. I think it's probably more common in Korea. That's my assumption. I don't know, who knows? I guess another thing that might require some context is like the part where Ki-hoon takes his daughter to eat dinner for her birthday, and he takes her to what the Koreans call 포장마차, which is basically like street food vendors that you can like sit down and eat food in, and he gets her like tteokbokki, which is what I ate just now, which is the spicy Korean rice cakes. That dish is like street food in Korea. It's like very cheap street food. It's freaking delicious and it's amazing, but it's like cheap food. So, you know, I think it's, you know, it's obvious when you watch the scene that it's probably like not very like fancy what he's, you know, what he's getting her, but it is considered like very cheap street food, which I think is quite important as well. Another thing I just thought of is like the fact that the mothers of Ki-hoon and Sang-woo are still working. They're still like, you know, they still own their little businesses. They're still like selling things. I feel like that's also very kind of, I guess, common in Korean culture, is that Korea doesn't have much of like protections for the elderly. So there isn't really much of like pension, retirement programs, really much senior benefits at all. It's actually a big problem in Korea because traditionally Korean society was that, you know, you basically take care of your family, right? So if you have kids, your kids are supposed to be taking care of you when you're older. That was the tradition. But not just your kids, but traditionally your oldest son is supposed to take care of you, like when you get older. So that's why a lot of parents basically, like, you know, in the previous generation were obsessed with having a son. Because if they didn't have a son and if they had a daughter, their daughter would get married into a different family and then she would be basically serving that family instead. That was the kind of traditional mindset. So that's why a lot of Korean, you know, people back when my parents were young, all they wanted was a son. They always wanted a son. So that was like the tradition, that the son would take care of the elderly, the parents. But then because of, you know, the way that society has changed in so many ways, because Korea has become such a different place than it was, you know, back a few years ago, that kind of tradition is not really as prevalent. So that kind of leaves a lot of older Korean people kind of like without much money and without much support, because they're not getting support from the government, and they may not also be getting support from their own family because, you know, maybe their family has their own family to take care of. Maybe, you know, they've been neglected. I don't know. There's so many reasons why your kids are not watching out for you. And also, you know, just the fact that you had kids doesn't mean that that's going to guarantee that you get taken care of. I think that's already a kind of flawed kind of tradition. But anyway, that's why you see a lot of older people, you know, working in those like food stalls or selling fish or, you know, selling whatever it is that they're selling. And they're still working even though they're like 70, 80 years old because, you know, they don't have a pension. They don't have retirement funds. They don't have the government to take care of them. So they have to keep working unless their kids are going to give them money. So I think, and that's one thing I just realized, kind of shows Sang-woo's kind of character. It kind of like exposes his character a little bit because he went to this like really prestigious university, has this really prestigious job, yet his mom is still working selling fish, you know, in the little like street stall, which, you know, is not really, I guess, representing his like really high up social status, right? So you would expect somebody that went to Seoul University that has like this like really great job to retire his mom, take care of his mom. But obviously he had his own problems, which he was hiding from his mom. But like you can kind of see that in the fact that she's still working like that and she's a lot older. So yeah, anyway. Oh, that was a ramble. Anyway, this wig does not want to stay on me. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for my Squid Game mukbang. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed eating with me. If you did enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. And of course, check out my Squid Game recipes video to find out how I made all of these delicious recipes. Oh my god, I'm so full and I'm so just very content right now. Anyways, if you haven't watched Squid Game, please watch it. It is such a good show. I am pretty obsessed. I watched it twice and kind of want to watch it again, not gonna lie. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!